The headwaters of the Skokomish River begin in the snow-capped Olympic mountain range, the steep and rugged mountains that separate Puget Sound from the Pacific Ocean. The upper river basin is known for its heavy rainfall, steep terrain, and dense forests. Eventually, the river finds its way to a wide, flat valley through which it meanders until it reaches the southern end of Hood Canal.
Running down the mountains face to the rivers down to here is all the sacred tears of Dukwibos. The mountain is displaying to us that no matter how big you are or how big you think you are, you're not too big to cry.
I just remember this river as being beautiful and calm, and the kids playing in it, and I just know that it was a living for some of our people.
The tribe has been here since time immemorial. The river was the key hub for our subsistence lifestyle because it was our mode of transportation. When the tide was out, we had access to shellfish. The entire length of the river was used for fishing. So it's difficult to place a value on the watershed. That you can't put a value on the watershed.
The word Skokomish literally means people of the river in the native language, and the river provided everything the tribes needed to live and prosper. Eventually, these resources also attracted new settlers, who began to utilize the vast timber and other natural resources to help feed the growing Puget Sound.
Past management in the watershed, including timber harvest and road construction and agricultural use, have really led to degraded conditions.
It's a watershed that has worked very hard, been put to every use for hydroelectric, dikes, levees, channel straightening, filling in of side channels and drainages.
This particular area is probably one of the most productive Douglas fir, western red cedar forests in the world.
Last half century, this watershed was very heavily logged, and a lot of it was on really steep, unstable ground.
In order to access the forest stands to produce timber, we constructed a lot of roads.
There's more roads built on this particular ranger district than just about any other ranger district in the United States. And unfortunately, when you build roads and don't maintain them, culverts fail, and these landslides keep on growing and contributing more and more sediment to the river system.
And that has been a major cause for the serious flooding and habitat degradation that we've seen on the Skokomish River.
On top of all this, farming practices at the mouth of the river, such as channelization and diking, have reduced the flow of the river and acted to cork the mouth of the river, further reducing its ability to flush out excess sediment.
Cultural uses, it represents one of the primary pristine estuary habitats in western Washington and in the United States. What we'd like to see is to take this area back into its natural condition. We believe that represents the optimum for the purposes and needs of the tribes and the surrounding community and the nation as a whole.
I think it was 1996 and 1997 that we had 3 100-year floods in 2 years. There was a lot of controversy, a lot of yelling and screaming, and a lot of news media attention and that sort of thing.
Well, at this hour, the Skokomish River is spilling over its banks in Mason County, sending water over the roadways and flooding some pastures.
Fish swim across a rural road as a river spills its banks while people in one apartment face a wet mess. The floodwater has overflowed the Skokomish River near Shelton, sending spawning salmon up and over the road. These chum salmon have been swimming hundreds of miles, but when the floodwater hit, it's making the last few miles the most challenging.
In about 2003, 2004, some changes happened with the river that made people afraid that the river might actually, jump its bank, which would have been disaster for the people who live here and for the fish. People were no longer able to really live or build houses or farm in the valley.
The Skokomish River has several endangered fish species, and flooding causes water quality problems because every contaminant there is available on the floor of the valley is picked up and flushed out into marine waters in Hood Canal. And fish start to suffer and die right away.
Shellfish, being filter feeders, are some of the first ones to pick up pathogens. So a shellfish farmer down on the flats have to stop harvesting. If you have employees, you have to find somewhere else for them to work or lay them off.
Due to the terrible flooding, local citizens, companies and groups, the tribe, state and federal agencies, and environmental groups all began attempts to work on the problem even as early as the 1970s. By 2004, due to lack of coordination of those efforts, there was a sense of confusion and distrust among the different groups and the people who lived in the watershed.
I don't think anybody disagrees that the channel is full of gravel. It's just figuring out and everybody agreeing on how to do something about it.
It's difficult to do that if you don't coordinate with each other.
For a long time, there was just a lot of suspicion about what everybody was up to.
Forest Service, timber companies, landowners, tribe, all of them were coming up with their own solutions, but there was really no forum for people to discuss and work out differences.
Starting about 10 years ago, a number of different landowners and agencies, people who live and work and play in this watershed, decided to get together and try to start making some progress. Started out pretty small with a Forest Service timber sale called the Flat Timber Sale, and a number of us, the Skokomish Tribe with the Mason Conservation District, worked with the Forest Service. The idea was to use some of the revenue from that timber sale to help with some road decommissioning that the Forest Service wanted to do.
Where the receipts from the timber is actually used in the watershed for restoration. And that, to me, is a win-win situation.
We removed 33,000 cubic yards of material from one stream crossing.
That experience went so well, we decided we should continue. And at some point, the Wilderness Society asked if there would be a role for a informal organization. I said yes. Many others said yes. And that was the birth of the Skokomish Watershed Action Team.
The main purpose of SWAT is to identify goals and objectives, and not one person has the answer. There's forest ecologists in the upper watershed, and there's marine biologists down here in the lower watershed that have specialized skills that you wouldn't normally get if you didn't have a group like SWAT.
People that are in the SWAT group come from a lot of different backgrounds, and they certainly have a lot of different opinions on what needs to be done.
I have to say the Skokomish Watershed Action Team is a group of very strange bedfellows, and that's been a good thing.
They were able to get all the different players to sit down at the table and stop fighting and talk about collaboration and how they can actually restore the valley. Instead of fighting anymore, they're actually working together to try to make things better. And that, to me, is very positive.
Whether it's in the upper watershed or down at the estuary, in the valley, they're all part of the same restoration effort, and we all need each other to make this river work again.
The work that has been done in the Skokomish Basin includes road decommissioning work, which has substantially reduced sediment delivery from roads to river or stream systems. We've done large wood projects to restore fish habitats and to improve the riparian conditions. We've done work in the mid-valley to help address the flooding and the sediment issues. Green Diamond has done a lot of road maintenance and also fish passage.
We have very wide buffers on streams and wetlands in order to protect water quality.
And the tribe has worked earnestly with partners to restore the estuary.
Here at the mouth of the Skokomish River, they started implementing phase 1 of the estuary project. Consisted of restoring 130 acres of estuary. Right after that, in 2010, we moved on to the island, which was another 215 acres of restoration. We've already seen benefits from the projects we've done. We've seen access to streams for salmon that weren't there. We've seen creation of channels down here in the estuary and a reduction in flooding.
There was kind of a cork at the end of the river, and now we've removed that cork. And I got to watch the estuary, how it changed after that project had been completed.
It's incredibly gratifying. I'm very encouraged by some of the results.
You know, the tribe is really crucial both for salmon recovery and for its cultural commitment to this watershed. And they're really the most driving force of all in getting the restoration effort going here.
SWAT really is a story about restorative actions being done across all lands.
Because of SWAT, we were able to not only coordinate with the partners, but we were able to implement a lot of projects here in the watershed.
We don't all agree on everything, but we demonstrated an ability to get things done in this watershed.
It's extremely important that we're working with others so that we can live in this extremely volatile world.
I think we're definitely on the right path. We are seeing light at the end of the tunnel so far as the planning is concerned.
But there's still a lot of work that needs to be done.
Start up in the headwaters, turn off that flow of excess gravel and sediment that has been coming down into the valley for the last few decades. And then we can figure out what to do about, the gravel that is here. This is a great partnership. This is a great collaboration. We have gotten so much done in the past 10 years. We've really kind of reset the trajectory for this whole watershed and the river. And, without this collaboration, we would not be where we are today.
I look forward to the time that water will be clean again and the beach will be beautiful like it used to be. And I see my grandchildren and their children being there when it happens. I know that it's going to come back. That's what I totally realize. I know it's going to come back.